Hello and welcome to the forecast for June 30th until July 6th, where we are entering a little bit of chaotic, frenetic energy before the intense change that is about to happen next week. We have got this major last outer planet transition happening July 7th. I know that's not this next week, but there's a lot of things leading up to that. And July 7th is when Uranus fully transitions into Gemini. That's when I'll next week describe a lot about what Uranus and Gemini means. But we are literally like watching the trailer right now. We are leading up to that moment this week. Venus does a big transition. It goes into Gemini as well. So Venus is going to lead the way before Uranus comes through. So let's get into all of the excitement and the intensity and the activity that is upon us for this next week. My name is Desiree de Lunae, your acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer, and I am here to equip you with all of the interesting energies we get to interact with for the next week, which is really helpful when you are hypersensitive. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick, and please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell, share away, so that you are equipped by every week by week. You know what's coming around the corner. All right, let me make this a little bit bigger for you. And present. Perfect. All right, now we are in Cancer season. First things is that Sun is in Cancer and it is also conjunct Jupiter. And we've had the Sun actually cross over Jupiter. And so Jupiter has kind of gone through this like purification process. If you haven't felt the luck and richness and abundance that Jupiter often brings into an area, well, now that the Sun has moved past through it, and by Tuesday we should be out of combustion here, you're going to now see Jupiter begin to thrive in this area. And, you know, when a planet first comes into a sign, it needs a little warm up phase. And then we start to see it really settle into the sign. I feel like maybe 10% in, and 10% would be basically around degree 3 for Jupiter. So I feel like you're going to start to feel the fruits of Jupiter. So it just needs a little bit of an adjustment period as it adjusts from one sign to the next. Because, you know, it has been in Gemini for the longest time. So the Sun in Cancer is going to bring us more inward and really nurturing the things that are sacred, such as our emotional well-being, such as our physical well-being, such as our relationships and our home. So everything that we find sacred and everything that nourishes us, which is our relationships, which is our emotional self, right? Which is our physical body, our home. All of these things are of utmost importance that we are attending to. And with Jupiter being here, this adds that extra bit of richness and prosperity and luck and optimism. And so we are actually enthusiastic in taking care of these things, taking care of our relationships, taking care of our body, taking care of our home. And to even add that to the mix of like literally, you know, nurturing and taking care of, we also have Moon in another sign that has to do with service and helpfulness and improvement. Virgo is a very practical earth sign, and our Moon, which really impacts the way that we feel, right, and impacts our body too. And here in Earth, it wants to take care of things. It's very good at cleansing and detoxing and purifying and essentially eliminating and cutting out anything that is not nourishing, that is not helpful. And, you know, to add to that, we have Mars there that is right next to the Moon. And Mars is known for cutting and severing. So kind of that like, you know, taking away things that are not supportive. That's just more and more reinforced by this Moon placement being in Virgo, also next to Mars. If you don't know this, Mars deals with knives, and so that's why, like, and also just weapons or sharp things, and so that's why we get this sensation of cutting and separating. And then in addition to that, Mars brings a lot of energy. It's a fiery planet, so it is going to bring this ambition and drive and desire. And so, before, like, you might just think about, oh, it would be a nice idea to, finally clean up my backyard patio, right? So that I could create a lovely space to enjoy for the summer season where I can read books, where we can have, lovely conversations with the family. But with this moon in Virgo next to Mars, it is going to feel physically motivated and really encouraged and excited to finally, like, clean up that space. I'm just giving an example, like finally clean up that space and spruce it up and like make it cozy so that it's inviting and welcoming. So, purifying the space, getting rid of all the grime and the dirt and the clutter and the whatever that doesn't belong there, so that we can really foster an environment that supports, people coming together and having great conversations and like, just heart to heart connections. That's what Cancer is all about. So it's us being very proactive in creating and designing these kinds of spaces and environments. That's just, like I said, that's just one example. So very, very productive here. Picture this. Instead of feeling drained, doubting yourself, and putting everyone else first, instead, you are confidently expressing yourself, your boundaries, living on fire with your soul's mission, and experiencing this deep well of inner peace. This transformation, it's possible. I live it myself every day, and that's why I created Rise and Thrive. This is a transformative membership that combines the wisdom of Chinese medicine, essential oils, and other healing practices that shift you from surviving to thriving. So click down in the link below to join the Rise and Thrive membership so that you too can live a life in harmony, in peace, and in deep, authentic alignment with your true essence. And then we have another fire element here with Leo. We've got Mercury and Leo. And Mercury and Leo, I mean, that's a social sign. To me, Leo's very social. It's very playful. It's expressive. It's creative. It loves attention. I mean, you can't get attention from being alone, right? So that's why I find it's like a social sign. It likes to be around people. And it's another sign that has to do with the heart. It rules the heart. And so really speaking from the heart. And Mercury is the planet of communication. So we want to really speak from the heart here. And this here is another planet being here, really bringing people together. And Leo is fiercely loyal as well, very loyal to family, loyal to friends. And so there's a lot of openness. There's a lot of extroversion here. Even though Cancer is more introverted, I feel like with Mars next to Moon and then Mercury being in this fiery Leo, that you're going to really go out and take initiative to, bring the people you love, that you enjoy being around with, and just bring them into your life and like, hey, let's hang out. Let's hang out. Let's have a good time. And to me, this is a lot of laughter, I mean, between Jupiter next to the sun and Moon in Leo, there's a lot more joy and laughter and happiness and positivity. And look, I know that the world is under unbelievable turmoil at this moment, and absolutely not to deny that whatsoever. And it's tragic and painful. And at the same time, it's okay to feel gratitude internally too for things. It's okay to also love your family. It's okay to make space for more than one emotion within you, to be scared and to be angry, and also have time and space to be happy and joyful. And so amidst the chaos and the violence that does exist, we can make room to be grateful, to be optimistic, and plan for a better future and have hope for the best. And that's a lot of what this configuration is saying. And there's no doubt, though, like the world is completely changing and being restructured. And we're going to be talking about that here with this Uranus situation. So, Uranus, right here, do you see it's at 29 degrees and 41 minutes on this day, at least at 9 a.m. Central Time? Now, this is the last final degree that Uranus is in this week. And you're going to see that it's going to go 29 degrees, 41 minutes to like 44 minutes. It's going to gradually increase until July 7th when it crosses over and it's officially in Gemini. Now, I've been talking about this all year. This is the final outer planet that transitions because we've had Pluto go into Aquarius. That started end of last year, but then it dipped back into Capricorn and came back into Aquarius this year. And then we have Saturn. I'm not Saturn. Yes, Saturn is one of them, but it's not the outer planet. I meant Neptune. Neptune has been in Pisces the last 14 years, and it crossed over at the end of March, and it's in Aries, right? So now our last outer planet is Uranus. Now, the last final degree is known as the anaretic degree. And this last 29 degree, whatever minutes, right? As well as the 0 degree, that critical degree of the next sign. This right here is some of this little subsection here, the 29th degree of a previous sign and then the 0 degree mark of the next sign. This is some of the most volatile placements. The beginning, so when Uranus first entered Taurus at 0 degrees, which was like 7 years ago, and the last degree of Taurus, these degrees right here, the very beginning and the very last degree, are a bit chaotic. And, at the last degree, there's a lot of urgency. There's a lot of reckless energy. There's a lot of frenetic energy. It's like also wrapping up like what we've been doing the last 7 years with Uranus and Taurus. And Taurus has a lot to do with money, finances, economy. It makes sense. The economy is a little bit in disarray right now. And just what we value, the things, are you spending less money on things that you used to spend a lot of money on? So things that we value, that's what Taurus represents, that has shifted and changed. Maybe it's shifting even more right now. So there's a lot more volatility, action, change that is happening at this 29 degree and 0 degree mark. So if things are moving really fast in a chaotic way for you, and it is for the world too, yeah, it's because Uranus is right there. And we do have Venus that is coming up to this. This week, Venus is going to actually be exact degree as Uranus. And as Venus is coming up to this, like even more so, like Venus represents, it's the ruler of Taurus, right? So it does represent our relationships. It does represent the things that we value. It represents our money. So it represents a lot of important things. And with it coming up to Uranus, we're talking about major changes, sudden changes, maybe sudden disruptions in these themes and these topics. And so, there could be sudden change in the dynamic of a relationship. In either direction, it could be something really, really positive, and great, and just like what a pleasant surprise, or it could be something quite devastating. So I don't think any of us are going to slide by through this season, this next like couple of weeks, really, without some kind of massive change happening in our lives, some kind of disruption of some kind. Like I said, it could be something great, it could be something difficult, in either direction. So I just want to kind of brace you for all of that. And, and at the same time, we do have some gratitude and luck and positivity happening. I have in my life literally a combination of some people going through major losses and some people going through really beautiful blessings. And so having to hold space for both things, and feel both things is sometimes in the same moment or alternating between the two, has been very interesting. Let me know if you have an experience of that too. So, but next forecast, we will definitely dive more into this Uranus and Gemini when it officially crosses on the 7th of July. So let's go on to Tuesday. And look, see, look at this Uranus. And now it's at 44 minutes versus 40 minutes. And then Venus is getting closer too. So on Tuesday, we have Moon still traveling through Virgo. And Virgo, like it is about refinement, it's about perfection, and it's about making things better. So there may be some area in your life that Virgo is inspiring you to just, I need to clean this part up. I need to take care of certain things. I need to be responsible on this front, on this area. One of the things you could take a look at is, where is Virgo in your chart, you know? And then what house is it over? And I have a chart down below, a free PDF if you want to see the meanings of the houses. And so with Moon going through Virgo, that might stimulate you really attending to that area of your life, just to give you an example. Moon is also in trine with Venus, literally. Look, 26 degrees Moon here and 26 degrees Venus there. So it's an exact trine. That is a beautiful conversation. That is only going to help us to really like connect more into our own personal values and our pleasures and our desires. It's also going to help create sweet connection in our relationships. There's a lot of sweetness and tenderness. So that's really lovely. And it'll maybe even make you want to be very helpful and supportive to the people in your life, because that's the thing with Virgo moon. A Virgo moon loves to be of service, like in a practical way. Like, hey, do you need me to come help you? You're sick. Let me just come to your house and make you dinner, for example. So in a very like tangible way, Moon likes to help with Moon in Virgo. And that's going to be very sweet to our loved ones. We do also have it, trining Uranus is obviously not as exact as Venus, but it's there. And so, just suddenly out of the blue, supporting and helping a family member or a friend. That's just one of the ways it could express. But Moon also in trying to Uranus, it needs a shakeup. It needs a change. And so maybe like you suddenly, all of a sudden, throw away a piece of furniture that you have hated for the last 10 years. And it makes a radical change. It makes a radical change in the energy of your home. This is just, again, one of the ways. Like when I see Virgo, I see a lot of detoxing, cleansing, decluttering. That's super common. So if you notice a pattern when Moon's in Virgo, you're like, all of a sudden, I would just want to clean up. I just want to do the dishes. I just want to clean the stove. I just want to clean the bathroom. Like that's a Moon in Virgo Moon in Virgo thing. Okay, so we also have Moon. It's trying to Pluto. It's a little bit fainter. Do you notice how faint this blue line is? But it's there, and I like that because Pluto makes you just go dig deep. Like you're wanting to understand the root causes of things, but you're also willing to just go all the way in the cleansing, the detoxing, go all the way in the organization and practicality, go all the way into supporting somebody who needs your help right now. So very lovely conversation. The one challenge, it could be this opposition between Moon and Saturn and Neptune, and this can bring some confusion, some cloudiness, some like just a little bit burdened by certain responsibilities. But look, there's so many other things going on, so many other great, beautiful trines that are happening. And actually, you've got a grand trine between Pluto, Uranus, and Moon, as well as Pluto, Venus, and Moon. This to me is way stronger than whatever oppositions this is dealing with. So I'm not too concerned about that. Like this is a day of change. This is definitely a day of change, and it's a change where you are initiating and you feel really good about it. And if it's so right, it's bringing more harmony with this Venus part of the conversation. It's bringing more harmony and beauty and peace into your life. So the changes are much needed changes, great changes that you are initiating, that you are ready for, because that Mars, remember, is just giving you that courage and that drive and the desire and the physical energy to do such things. All right, so let's go to Wednesday. Now, Wednesday, we have a change. Our moon goes into Libra, and Libra likes to create more peace and calmness, and it's soothing. It loves beauty. It likes symmetry. So that's lovely. It does have a nice sextile to Mercury. So this is going to make us more communicative and more talkative for sure. So this is socializing, okay? Maybe like Tuesday, we were just knee deep in, cleaning something up or changing something up. But here, now let's go talk about it. Let's go interact with people. So definitely things that are also beautifying will, because even Leo likes beauty and luxury. So you may be interested in, doing something that's a little bit extra, a little bit luxurious. And then we do have some squares though. So the one thing with the Jupiter square, you got to be careful with overdoing it, is just be careful with being overindulgent or going a little overboard on things. So go indulge, but not to a place where it's kind of crossing a line here. And then sometimes sun and moon being in square, that can create a little bit of, hey, I feel like doing this, but I think I should be doing this. So there's like a little bit of internal tension of what you want to do and what you think you need to do. So that may come forward. And then you have that opposition again, but it's weaker. And the moon is at 8 degrees, so I'm actually not too concerned about that. One thing I do want to point out is this mini trine right here, mini grand trine. And you have Uranus and Pluto in a trine. It's been in a trine in a while. So which means like the changes we're going through, I mean, it's a total restructuring. Do you feel that? Do you feel like you're going and have been going through a major restructuring of your life, of your identity, like of your values, of your money, right? Of your relationships? We're going to see that happening. And all of this, for the longest time, it's been Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune that have been formulating this mini grand trine. And now we have Saturn as part of the conversation to this mini grand trine. Because, Saturn, it moves faster than Neptune, but it was separated from Neptune for a bit. But now Saturn is part of this. And so because Saturn is part of this, Saturn, now it's not as potent and as strong in Aries, but it's still Saturn. It's still Saturn. And Saturn brings structure. Saturn brings practicality, and it brings discipline and commitment. And so we have this grounding force amidst these very intense planets of like Uranus and Pluto, and then kind of like the dreamy quality of Neptune. So basically, there isn't as much grounding feature here between Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune. But then you throw Saturn into this. And so this is where we start to like, okay, these are the changes that are happening. And now how do we build a life around it? How do we build a structure around it, a foundation around it, so that these changes really like take root and take hold and become this new foundation for us to build upon. Okay, so that's in my opinion, that's a really, really nice feature. Okay, now let's go on to Thursday. This is like the Venus magic day, Venusian magic. I love this. So you're also going to see that, look how close Uranus is leaving Taurus, 29 degrees and 49 minutes. Now, Venus is literally 1 degree away at 28 degrees and 49 minutes, 1 degree away. So Venus is getting closer and closer and closer and closer. So as Venus is getting closer and closer to Uranus, and then I believe on Friday it's exact. Let me see. Yep, it's exact degree on Friday. So as it gets getting closer, what is going to be happening is like literally you might notice your desires changing, because Venus represents our pleasures and our desires and what we love. And these are not our needs, all right? Venus is our wants, okay? It's our fun, it's our leisure, it's our play. And in my opinion, it's also kind of one feature, I'm not saying the only feature, but one feature for our own personal like nourishment and self-care. And it's feminine, it's yin. So especially as women, like listen to your Venus. And so as it's getting closer to Uranus, like there's a change. That's what Uranus brings, sudden changes. And so there could be a change in what feels good to you. There could be a change in what is pleasure for you. And it might be a little bit like confusing and, like jarring. Like, why am I all of a sudden wanting to do this? I don't know why. Like, out of nowhere, I just feel like doing this. I feel like going there. That's okay. That's what's expected. That's what's expected. Or even like friendships. Like all of a sudden, I want to hang out with these kind of people. I want to be around these type of people. And you're kind of not into the current people you're hanging out with. That's fine. That's normal. That's normal with Venus getting closer to Uranus. The things you spend your money on all of a sudden changing, your finances, because remember Venus represents money, so you might see some change up in the direction of where your money goes and where money comes from. So all of that is part of this conversation, and it's just getting more and more amplified, more and more amplified. So Venus is now like a part of this whole mini grand trine that I just talked about. So you're going to throw in Venus into all of this, which Venus is a very harmonizing, softening type of planet. So amidst all this like shakeup and change and restructuring, which can be so like destabilizing and disorienting. But now we have Saturn here that is like, hey, we're going to ground this thing, relax. This is the grandfather energy, and it knows how to just handle things. It just knows how to handle things. And then you've got that Venus in there that just softens it. Like, we're going to smooth this out. We're going to make this feel good. We're going to make it pretty, especially with Neptune and Venus part of the conversation in this triangle. We're going to make this palatable. We're going to make it, easy to take in, easy to receive, easy to change into. And so it's helping. Let's just say it's helping in all of the changes to make it more easeful and to make it more graceful. Because that is one thing that Venus is elegant. It's very graceful. It has class. Okay, it's sophisticated, and it knows how to put a pretty bow on things. So having a nicer spin on all of the change that you're personally going through. So very, very bright Venus, like a lot of magic from Venus here. But then on Friday is the day, right? This is the day that these two are exact. So we're going to feel it really intensely on this day. So there's like an awakening, essentially. That's another great word for Uranus. It's like awakening of new pleasures, awakening of new love. I mean, talk about like feeling electric love for someone, like a romantic partner. And then it's talking to Pluto. My gosh. and then the dreamy romantic side of Neptune. So there could be a lot of love and romance just in the air. Also strong desire for freedom. That's the thing with Uranus. It is about independence and freedom too. So like maybe, you just standing in your authenticity and in your truth and in your power, especially with Pluto, all that personal power. Like I just feel people like with these new changes, with this evolution, feeling strength, power, feeling centered, feeling like magnetic and charming and attractive. I mean, you're in it, like you're in the zone. You're totally in the zone here. And this is, look, we're literally just a couple of days away from Uranus going into Gemini. So this is a very, I kind of said like volcanic Venus, like your beauty, your pleasure, like you yourself, your core self. It's just like exploding out here into the world. So very intense day, and I'm gonna say intense in a good way. And then look, Moon is now also in Scorpio. It's in Scorpio. It's in square with Pluto. You're gonna be feeling all the feels because this Pluto, is communicating with all these other planets, and then secondarily communicating with the Moon, and the Moon is in a beautiful trine with Jupiter. this is not just going to be in the head. Like you're going to really feel all this in the body. You're going to feel a lot. And then Jupiter brings lots of expansion and abundance and like a positivity too. Look, Moon doesn't like being in Scorpio and doesn't typically like to be in square with Pluto either. So you're going to feel the intensity of all the things here on this day. So just expect Friday to we're gonna have just a lot of energy and a lot of emotions here on this day. But overall though, overall, even with Moon being in Scorpio, I really, really love this mini grand trine situation that's happening. It's a good like prep essentially with Venus being a part of this before Uranus officially crosses into Gemini. Because look on Saturday, here it is. Saturday is the day Venus goes into Gemini, and that's a big vibe change for Venus. Venus was in his home sign in Taurus. Here, there's going to be a lot more socialization too. So we're going to see with Mercury in Leo and Venus in Gemini. Okay. This is a very like outward, very playful, very curious, very charming and witty and all of that. So a lot more socialization. If you've been hermiting, you're probably not going to want to do that anymore. You're probably going to have this urge and this need to go connect with people for sure. This is such a social placement. This Venus in Gemini moment. It's very lighthearted too. So as you can see, like we're coming up towards, so this is an air sign, right? Gemini is an air sign. Venus is going to be an air sign. Air is like ideas and being communicative and talkative. Then we're going to have Uranus and Gemini days later, literally 2 days later. It's going to cross over. So there's more and more air and more air. And then we have fire here. So you're just going to see things like really speeding up, is essentially what I'm saying. Moon is in trine with Sun. That's a beautiful conversation. Love it. You're going to feel a bit more like connected between your head and your heart. Like your thinking and your feeling are going to be more congruent and more harmonious in that sense. Moon is in square with Mercury, so that can bring a little bit of disagreements, misunderstandings as we are communicating with others. So there's that. And yeah, and then this beautiful mini grand trine is just getting stronger and stronger, especially as it's talking with Venus. So we actually have a stronger mini grand trine between Venus, Saturn, and Pluto, which is great for transformation, structure, order, and then this social grace and charm. It's almost like you're able to take all of these changes that you're going through and being able to verbally express and communicate, like you're going to have a clearer understanding of what's been happening to you internally and your place in the world. And so that way you can communicate it to others, like what is actually going on with you. That's how I see that Saturday. And then Sunday, we have a little bit of like push pull, when in terms of our feelings. Moon is still in Scorpio, and now we have an opposition. We have an opposition to Venus. This sometimes can bring like a need for validation from other people. Sometimes like you also could struggle between wanting to be alone with Moon in Scorpio and independent versus being really, really like out there and social. So, like we're like, oh, a part of me wants to go out and hang out with people, then a part of me wants to just kind of stay home and not socialize at all. So you might feel a little bit of that internal conflict going on. But Moon does have these nice trines though, and it's only going to get stronger into the day, but with Saturn and Neptune. So that will provide a little bit of grounding and some creativity. I really like this for creative work on Sunday and a lot of internal reflection. And yeah, so whether you have and some kind of artistic practice, I feel like Sunday would be a good day to dig deep for all of those things because you could even get it from this opposition to Venus and then getting it from the trine to Saturn and Neptune. But if you're wanting to do any kind of like shadow work, this would be really great. If you wanted to do any kind of emotional healing, energetic healing work, this would be a great day for that as well. Okay, so that is our week's forecast, and we have next week, starting Monday, our major move. And that transition, like I said, Uranus and Gemini, it happens the next day. Look at this, it's at 58 minutes. 58 minutes, 29 degrees, 58 minutes, 2 minutes away from going into Gemini. And that's a very big day, and that is going to be there for the next 7 years. I will give some examples and some delineations of what that means. You know, where is Gemini in your chart? Where is Gemini in your chart? That would be something to look at. And that way, you already have Venus that's crossed over there, but you're going to see how the Gemini area of your chart is going to be impacted by this move of Uranus into that sign. So thank you so much, and we will see you in next week's forecast. Bye. Do you find yourself giving more than receiving, doubting your worth, and maybe even hiding your powerful gifts from the world? These are signs of someone being disconnected with their soul's highest expression. I'm Desiree de Lunae, an acupuncturist, herbalist, and astrologer. And through my own healing journey of self-discovery, I have learned how to shift these lower frequency states into empowered living. I use Chinese medicine, essential oils, astrology, as well as work that brings together ancient wisdom and modern healing practices. So I want to introduce to you Rise and Thrive. This is a unique membership program where you'll be receiving quarterly workshops, guided meditations, and essential oil blend recipes that are specifically designed for empathic, hypersensitive women like you. Unlike other one-off workshops or some generic self-help program, understand that Rise and Thrive offers ongoing support, practical tools that help you to create lasting and progressive transformation. So at just $61 per quarter, it is the most affordable way to work with me consistently. So click on the link down below, join the Rise and Thrive membership, the community, and begin your journey into living your authentic, empowered life.